वालेकुम एवरीवन। मेरा नाम हया फातिमा इकबाल है और मैं आप लोगों को खुशामदीद कहना चाहती हूँ फुलब्राइट वुमेन पॉडकास्ट के एक और एपिसोड में। हमारे साथ आज मौजूद हैं डॉक्टर हिरा खालिद। डॉक्टर हिरा is a PhD in chemistry and she went on the visiting Fulbright Scholar program at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, where she did a postdoc fellowship, and she was also doing some amazing research in chemistry at the time. And Dr. Hira is an associate professor at the Forman Christian College, University, Lahore. I don't think I've had too many conversations with people who have done PhDs and postdocs in chemistry. You're probably maybe like the third person in all of my life. So I'm really excited to be
Mhm.
talking to you. Um, I think chemistry makes a lot of us mere mortals a little bit nervous, डॉक्टर हेरा। तो अगर हम आपसे बहुत सिली क्वेश्चंस करें आज तो आप प्लीज हमें माफ कर दीजिएगा, बट क्योंकि आप प्रोफेसर हैं तो आई एम श्योर आपको
It's
आदत
okay.
होगी, आपको सिंपल सवालों
It's
की
okay.
आदत होगी। बट आपके
Exactly.
क्या हाल है? थैंक यू सो मच फॉर बीइंग ऑन दिस पॉडकास्ट।
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the on this podcast and giving me the opportunity to share my experience. Thank
थैंक
you.
यू। व्हाट आर यू अप टू दीज डेज डॉक्टर हेरा? क्या चल रहा है?
A lot of things on my plate because I'm doing the research, I'm teaching the courses. So there are some of the new courses because I used to teach the undergrad, postgrad, and the PhD courses. So there were some core chemistry courses, but now my chairperson has trusted me. I think I would say this because they wanted that for the general chemistry course, and this is a big challenge to teach the people who are not uh, in the major chemistry and you wanted to inspire them for the chemistry. So that's a big thing.
We want to
Mhm.
ask some really basic questions about chemistry, so yeah, and just get to know you
Sure, sure,
a
sure.
bit more through chemistry. So my one of my
Okay.
questions to you, one of my first the first silly question I have for you is, what is your most favorite element in the periodic table?
So I would say nitrogen, right?
Oh,
Because nitrogen is one of the major component of our air we breathe.
okay.
Nitrogen is a major component of the amino acid, which is a building block of protein. हमारी skin, हमारे nails, ये सारी चीजें जो बनते हैं. So nitrogen is also making a very wonderful, vast class of phytochemicals, जो
Mhm.
plant-based chemicals होते हैं. So these are called the heterocyclic compounds. They are in many of the drugs. So nitrogen has a very diverse role. So that's why I like it as and another reason, a
Haha.
very nice reason. So because it's atomic number is 7 and my lucky number is 7. So I can also relate with that
I love
one. Yeah.
I love it. I love that you
So
had a ready answer for it, right? I don't know what my
thank
favorite
you.
chemical, what my favorite element in the periodic table is, but amazing. So now we have to stand nitrogen now. अब हम nitrogen fans हैं आपसे because आपने prove कर दिया है कि क्यों होना चाहिए.
Thank you.
My other question to you is, uh, what is what do you for you what is the most visually uh fantastic chemical reaction to look at?
So there are number of good reactions, but I will say it's one of the sugar tests. This way we treat it with the silver salt, right? And we can make the mirror. It's just create the silver plating over our glassware, and you can generate your own metallic glassware. So we do the test for the confirmation of one kind of sugar, और इसके लिए हम जितने chemicals add करते हैं, so it create the whole of the chrome जो आपने looking mirrors की back side पे भी the silver color, so it's a very nice like a mercury silver coating, तो वो आप generate करते हो and you are looking your face while doing the reaction, so it's amazing.
Wow,
It's very
amazing.
nice, yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Amazing. I also want to ask you, like, is there an element or a compound that
Mm.
you are like scared of, in the sense that आपको लगता है कि ये जो है ना, ये जिधर आता है ये पंगा करता है in any chemical reaction, ये इनका एक अलग ही एक मतलब एक फितना सा ये फैलाते हैं?
Yeah, actually, one of the example is I can give you two example. One is the very famous reagent we use to make some of the reactants जो हम फिर उसको link करने के लिए use करते हैं because then it make it very reactive.
Okay.
So this is a bromoacetyl bromide. So it has a two bromine in it. और वो इतना पॉइजनस है कि इवन you I have a hand here and there are the fumes of this one, so it can create wounds. And it happens to me once, and I was holding the bottle और वो totally sealed थी, and the fumes were getting around, and I just get the cut in my finger. And another thing is also from the same family. The bromine is from the halogen family, which is from the group in the periodic table, जिसके पास already 7 electrons होते हैं in outermost shell. So every atom is looking for to get the 8 electron in outermost shell. This is just like an example कि जैसे हम लोगों का एक अपना ideal होता है ना, that we wanted to be a certain business level, tycoon, or at the certain financial status. So they are looking for the 8 group elements. 8 group elements वो शरीफ बाबे होते हैं जो already settled है, and they are not reacting with any of
They're
the
like the
element.
Switzerland of
So
the political world. They're not doing it.
so the first to 7, they all are the struggling people, right? They all wanted to acquire their octet complete with 8 electrons.
I love it.
So the 7 group elements are those which are halogen, and they already have 7. And you can imagine how much desirous they are for just to acquire the 1 electron, because they are just one step backward to get their noble gas. So one of these iodine is from the family which is very big in size. It's very sluggish. So that's why it is not able to break its bond easily. So उसको जब भी आप रिएक्शन में डालते हो तो आपको उसको बहुत पुश करना पड़ता है, उसको अच्छी हीट देनी पड़ती है, या स्टेटिंग बड़ी efficient. But otherwise the bromine, chlorine, they are very good one. They're very nice people. आप उनको कहते हैं भाई टूट जाओ, टूट जाते हैं, फिर वो नया बॉन्ड बना देते हैं. But iodine is very very tricky in that way.
Iodine is like the पंगा पीस के जो मतलब उनसे
Yeah.
नहीं हो पा रहा, वो नहीं कर पा रहे हैं.
हाँ हाँ वो because he wanted to be in comfort zone, वो comfort zone से आने ही नहीं चाह रहा था, क्योंकि कार्बन के साथ वो बड़ा खुश होता है. तो क्योंकि वो कहता है यार मैं इतना मोटा हूँ, मैं कैसे चलूंगा, so that's he just keep in on my bed.
वो जहाँ
So
है
the
वहाँ खुश
bromine,
है, वहाँ
हाँ
अपना मुतमईन है
खुश
वो.
है, exactly.
I love it.
मुतमईन है,
I love
exactly.
it. I love it. This is fascinating, and also I love that you have answers for these. ना कि ये मैं मुझे ये चीज जो है ना बहुत खतरनाक लगती है. This is amazing. मुझे आप ये बताएं कि आपको केमिस्ट्री में किस तरह से इंटरेस्ट हुआ? Because I mean, did you grow up in a surrounding where other people were also interested in chemistry, or were you really one of those lone people in your situation कि जिन्होंने कहा कि नहीं मुझे तो ये चीज पढ़नी है?
Yeah, I think from my family, even in my parental side or my father's side, so I am the first one who did the PhD and in chemistry. My mother has always like it is something where my parents really push me that you have to go to the sciences or something. They maybe made my mind, and then I always enjoy the science books. So the science experiments, and I remember in my childhood I used to watch such kind of documentaries where they do experiment. And at that time I was not able to understand what is the genetics, what's the engineering, but I used to. And I someday I was thinking I would be like that scientist. I like that white coat. I like these pipettes. So these were the things which really inspire me. The most of the questions I was intrigued and I really curious that why there would be the must reason that why most of the plants have the green leaves, and why how the drugs do work in your body system. So what is a firework? Like you have the golden firework, you have the green, and sometime in a stove there is some kind of different flames ignited. So these were some of the questions which I really was curious. And when I realized that the chemistry is making me to answer these questions, so this had make me that okay, the chemistry is my path. So I would
Amazing.
definitely go. Yeah.
Amazing. Wonderful. Wonderful. और जब आपने फिर पढ़ना शुरू किया केमिस्ट्री, मतलब आपने आई गेस पहले आपने बीएससी इन केमिस्ट्री किया, राइट?
Yeah, so I did the FSC, and of course the पहली वाली चीज होती है हमारे पाकिस्तान में, so you have to do the FSC,
बिल्कुल
so you will go to the medical school.
हाँ
So once you don't get, then you wander around. Okay, what are the different fields? And I would go and this
हाँ.
thing. And I remember I submit my form in zoology, but my father submitted my form in chemistry as well, and I was just selected, and I really then it was no stop journey because I didn't keep on enjoying the chemistry.
अमेजिंग. तो आपके साथ भी डॉक्टर है यही कहानी हुई कि पहले मेड स्कूल की कोशिश और फिर मेड स्कूल में नहीं हो पाया कि
हाँ, exactly,
आई सी
exactly.
आई सी
But that was a step that I take that decision that I'm not going to repeat and repeat and
राइट,
just trying to okay
वहीं पे जाना
because
है, हाँ।
मेरी एक साइड थी जहां मैं हमेशा से ये भी चाहती थी कि I would be the in a fine arts. If I'm not, I go to the sciences, and I always wanted to go to the NCA. But my father said, no, you had to go to the sciences, and if you have did your matric in a sciences, so why you wanted to NCA? Because एक myth होती है ना कि NCA में शायद वही लोग आएंगे जो आर्ट्स ही पढ़ते हैं और
राइट,
who
सही कह,
can't do the sciences.
हाँ
So we have some kind of
हाँ,
psychological or
प्रीकंसीव्ड या,
own
हाँ
norms, yeah.
हाँ हाँ,
So, but then I realized, okay, I can do many of the arts thing and the creative thing in the sciences, in the chemistry. So I was in a student के जो charts बना रहे हैं, blocks बना रहे हैं, models बना रहे हैं. So it somehow satisfied me.
नाइस,
Yeah,
दिस इज
so
वेरी
it's a rewarding
इंटरेस्टिंग,
one.
हाँ, दिस इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। और आई मीन ये तो एक आई थिंक पूरी फिलोसॉफिकल डिबेट शायद हो सकती है, लेकिन आई थिंक जिस तरह से हम बाइफरकेट करने पे तुले रहते हैं आर्ट और साइंस को,
Yeah,
आई थिंक वो तो दोनों का बहुत गहरा रिश्ता है आपस में। आई मीन देयर
exactly,
so much science and art, and
exactly,
there's so much art in the world of science. Like
exactly.
it's all a beautiful creation in many ways, right? कि आप मतलब you can't stop
Mm-hmm.
getting fascinated. और
Yeah.
आपने कहाँ पे अंडरग्रेड किया?
So I did the BS honors in Institute of Chemistry, Punjab University.
Okay,
So
हाँ,
we are lucky that if you count as a 4-year batch of the BS honors, so we were the first one. But
okay,
हमसे पहले semester system का सिर्फ एक पहला batch निकला था. But they were graduated after 3 years.
oh,
But our class then decided themselves. So you can see the journey कि हम शुरू से ही ये थे कि what is good for us, right? So our class, and I would really appreciate our GR and CR because they come up with idea, and we all struggle, and we met the VC, Vice Chancellor, the registrar कि भाई internationally तो 16 year या 14 years की education होती है. So 3 year is not making any point because we wanted to go abroad and we wanted to study. तो हमारी equivalence होनी चाहिए. And then we struggle by ourselves. और मतलब हमें ये parents से नहीं पूछा था हमने. So we just meeting them, and after that we get our 4 year back. After doing my BS honors of the 4 year, then I did the 2 year MS, and that was also from the same institute because we enjoying the working there.
हाँ,
So though I take the admission in a PhD, but that doesn't work out. So then I was awarded the ATC Indigenous Scholarship for the PhD. So it was a long journey because then I go to the Lahore College, then I go to the University of Sargodha because I was having the scholarship and I had to get this the admission. And in a GC university, there was a little bit, I don't know, I should talk about it net, but now this is a sort out. But there was a rivalry between the Ravians and the
the
you can say
non-Ravians,
the
was it?
university, yeah, non-Ravians. So they
Classic.
said कि भाई आपने there was a registrar who just who has not been there anymore. So I can ask tell that story because when I visited, so they said आपने तो भाई BS ऑनर्स 4 साल आपने पंजाब यूनिवर्सिटी से किया. You did your 2 year MS, so why you wanted to go come to the GC? तो आपको अभी पंजाब यूनिवर्सिटी में जाना चाहिए. I said no sir, I wanted, मतलब मैं
हाँ
चाहती हूँ कि मैं और इंस्टीट्यूट में भी अपने आप
हाँ
को देखूँ ना.
हाँ,
What is my मतलब एक होम टाउन बन जाता है ना. Every lab
बिल्कुल,
member know you, every
कंफर्ट
teacher know
जोन
you. So
डेफिनेटली।
I just wanted to
और आप
come out from the comfort
रिसर्चर
zone, and I
बनना चाहते
wanted to
हैं
go for the
तो
breeding. हाँ कि मेरी
एग्जैक्टली,
अपनी breeding क्या है.
हाँ
Yeah,
हाँ,
exactly.
एंड यू वांट टू
But
वर्क विद डिफरेंट
after
प्रोफेसर्स आल्सो, राइट?
yeah,
ऐसा थोड़ी
so
है कि आप
that
बस,
1 year, exactly. So when that 1 year I did as a research scientist in the University of Sargodha. Then after a year, when the registrar changed, so I got the admission in TC University, and from there I did my PhD. Yeah, during that my education, I didn't go do the formal job, but there was some of the internships I did, or आपकी class or lab demonstration. So as a visiting, I did that one, but I don't want to take a gap because मेरी journey थी that I have to go for the PhD and
राइट,
I have to be a scientist.
आपको पता
So
था कि
yeah.
आपको पीएचडी करना है।
हाँ, लेकिन हमारी क्लास में बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग थे, बहुत सारे और जूनियर सीनियर्स में. तो पेरेंट्स स्टार्ट के स्पेशली जब गर्ल्स होती हैं दैट यू डिड द MS, सो यू शुड स्टॉप, क्योंकि अगर आपके पास MPhil कर लिया है या आपने PhD कर लिया तो पीपल हैव अ माइंड कि इस बच्चे की एज बहुत ज्यादा है. तो
राइट।
शुक्र है कि मेरे पेरेंट्स ऐसे नहीं थे, एंड आई वाज आल्सो नॉट दिस कि भाई मैंने किसी शख्स के लिए बैठना नहीं है।
हाँ,
आई एम नॉट वेटिंग
वो
फॉर
शख्स
समबडी।
मिले ना मिले, हम जो
हाँ,
है अपनी।
वो शख्स
हाँ
कब आएगा मेरी जिंदगी में, व्हेन द अल्लाह
हाँ,
हैज डिसाइडेड कि
एग्जैक्टली।
आपको कब आपकी वो डेस्टिनेशन में है, व्हेन
हाँ
आई विल फाइंड द राइट पर्सन, तो हो जाएगा। तो आई एम लकी in that way. My parents listened to me. My parents was like this. They were not saying कि भाई हमने इस बच्ची को घर में बिठाना है. They keep on कि भाई अच्छा चलो पढ़ो, आगे करो, ये करो.
राइट।
So I know the people who just stop their education because कि वो टैग ना लगे कि एमफिल और
राइट।
पीएचडी का है. और लोग भी तो आते हैं ना, अच्छा पीएचडी किया. I have very very worst comment कि पीएचडी में बहुत सारे लड़कों की ये कमेंट्स आया करते थे कि पीएचडी की लड़की के पास बचता क्या है. Can you imagine? So it was so disturbing, but I said नहीं भाई ठीक है, ज्यादा से ज्यादा नहीं होगी, क्या हो गया. So
यानी
you have your own career,
आप एक
आपको जिंदगी.
इल्म के दरिया में गोता लगा
हाँ,
रहे हैं
दे सेड
आप।
कि भाई वो अपना दिमाग इतना लगा चुकी होती हैं कि उनमें वो फिर वो जो उनको
हाँ
चाहिए होता है, एक रोमांटिक और वो चुलबुला सा बच्चा.
हाँ, नटखट
मे भी शायद
नटखट
वो
सी
नहीं
एक
मिला.
लड़की।
हाँ, वो चीज शायद उनको नहीं
हाँ,
मिल
you
सकती
get
है
such a
तो,
bad
बट
bargain, right? You get like a thinking, independent, fierce woman, basically, who wants that in
हाँ, आप
Pakistan.
अपना
बहुत सारी
इंटेलेक्ट
चीजें।
इसलिए स्टॉप कर रहे हैं बिकॉज यू
हाँ
हैव टू प्लीज समबडी बड़ी कि भाई वो आपको एक
हाँ
अच्छी छोटी बच्ची समझ के ले जाएंगे,
हाँ
एंड
हाँ
देन
हाँ, चुलबुली, चुलबुली
that
सी
that
नटखट
so I
लड़की।
was not of that
कोई
person, so
सेम
I
नहीं
was
है, हाँ।
always been rebellious कह लें या आप कह लें कि I was always against these
You were
things. So
yourself, basically. You were yourself.
yeah, yeah,
That's amazing. नहीं,
yeah.
ये कितनी मतलब यानी एक्चुअली उदास करने वाली बात भी है कि मतलब आप सोचे कि कितने कितने लोगों।
Sometimes it really hits you. आप जितने मर्जी strong हो, but sometimes it really hits
इट
you.
इट हिट्स यू, इट
Yeah.
हिट्स यू। एंड मतलब
Hmm.
वो भी आई थिंक जो स्ट्रेंथ की बात है वो यही है ना कि it hits you, but then we managed to get back from it in 2 days,
Yeah.
right? हमने
Hmm.
अपना रिकॉर्ड
Hmm.
अपना भी, अब हमने हमारी डेडलाइंस मुझे लगता है कभी कभी इतनी होती है कि हमें होता है कि अच्छा सही ये हो गया, अब हम सैड हो गए, अब हमें जाके ग्रांट के लिए एप्लीकेशन फिल करनी है, राइट?
Exactly.
और मतलब आप सोचें कि सोच का कितना फर्क है कि आप जो है या मतलब आप जो है आप लिटरली आप केमिस्ट्री में पीएचडी कर रहे हैं, आप एक दुनिया की एक फिनोमेना की गहराई में जाके उसको स्टडी करके दुनिया का भला करने की नियत रखते हैं, और दूसरे लोग आपको कुछ इस
Hmm.
तरह की बात करें कि बचता क्या है और बचता क्या है, और इस तरह, या इवन
Hmm. Hmm.
आपने एमफिल वाली एग्जांपल दी, एक्चुअली आई मीन नाउ दैट यू spelled it out for me, it's actually so common, right? Like this is the mental image that people have कि अगर किसी ने एमफिल कर लिया है तो surely this person will be really old and also probably a
Hmm.
little bit खड़ूस में भी कि मतलब एमफिल पीएचडी कर
Hmm.
लिया है, और पीएचडी के साथ भी जो कॉनोटेशंस अटैच्ड हैं कि जी वो मतलब
Hmm.
फिरा हुआ दिमाग और इस तरह की बातें, मतलब लोग यूं मतलब ये कि खुद तो पढ़ा नहीं है और दूसरों को भी दूसरों के इल्म का भी मजाक उड़ाना है। और डॉक्टर हिरा, जब आप पीएचडी कर रही थी तो उस वक्त आपका मतलब उस वक्त केमिस्ट्री में ही आपकी स्पेशलाइजेशन किस तरफ जा रही थी, और आपकी रिसर्च आप किस टॉपिक मतलब आपका पीएचडी किस 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 सब्जेक्ट पे किस टॉपिक पे था, ये मैं जानने में बहुत इंटरेस्टेड हूँ।
Yeah, so I always like to create something, as I told you कि वो एक instinct थी थोड़ी सी वो art और
हाँ।
creative side की. So I go to the synthesis
हम्म।
where you do the wet chemistry, that you mix different reagents and you make the new compounds, and then you study their potential के भाई इसकी applications कहाँ कहाँ पे हैं. That could be the pharmaceutical side, that could be the industrial side. So I
हाँ।
go to the synthesis side, and I then switch that. It was more on a medicinal chemistry side because I always loved the biology. So then it is the organic synthesis. We synthesize the new compounds, but we do analyze their potential as the Alzheimer, neurodegenerative diseases. So that was my PhD project here.
Right. So you, in very very simple words, what were you doing for Alzheimer, for people affected by Alzheimer's? I mean, technically
So
speaking.
obviously, because we are on the chemistry side,
Yeah.
drug discovery is a many years process.
Hmm.
So we share one of the part, or you can say the one of the portion contribution. So what we do is कि हम उसको computationally we analyze, we screen the compounds के
Hmm.
that is a protein and where that should bind in the molecular level, and either it is able to stop some of the enzyme activity or not. So in an Alzheimer, there is something that enzyme has to convert a major neurotransmitter, And then when there is the message has delivered, it has to break down. It has to break that molecule. So it is not continuing that one. When there's a malfunctioning, so this is keep on going. So you have to stop these activities. For example, the enzyme, when we target that enzyme, and that is called the anti-acetylcholinesterase enzyme or anti-ACHE enzyme, because that enzyme is for the hydrolysis of that neurotransmitter. But we did have to block because there is a very limited amount of that neurotransmitter which is releasing. So now we wanted that its enzyme is not blocking. So we are blocking that enzyme to do not do its work.
Okay.
So we synthesize the compounds and then we do an in vitro analysis कि आपके पास जो है different equipment, different cell lines. So either your compound which you have made is actually made through the characterization. There are different techniques, NMR, spectroscopic, different, and you said, okay, ये compounds है, ये elements आपने लगाने थे और यही composition थी, and you made that one. And now you will test these ones. So in vitro testing tak hum ye propose kar dete hain that these are the compounds that could be the effective drug contenders for the future. Now the next job is the pharmacist and the pharmacology people who will develop the formulation कि आपको इसको in vivo में जाना चाहिए, animal testing, and then it should be in oral or it should be in through the injections. And then this is the whole thing of the marketing and the pharmaceutical industries that they launch it. और उसके बाद obviously the FDA and these kind of thing, they get the approval or not. So ये सारी एक पूरी एक journey है. But we are at the very integral and the beginner type के जो आपको compounds generate करके बताते हैं that this would be the medicine. आपने medicine में भी देखा होगा that they have the generic name like the ibuprofen हो गया, paracetamol हो गया, so acetaminophen हो गया. So these are the things or chemist job. Like
so some chemists decades
compounds
ago made that compound. Like someone made ibuprofen,
yeah,
and
exactly,
someone made
exactly,
paracetamol, right?
exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
just the fact कि मतलब मेरी तो यही बात बहुत fascinating है ना कि आपने compounds बनाए हुए हैं because
Yeah, exactly.
in my simple world compounds तो बस exist करते ही हैं, बस sodium chloride होता है और मतलब H2O भी होता है. तो डॉक्टर आप मुझे आप ये भी बताएं कि जो लोग लैब में काम करते हैं टू टू क्रिएट these chemicals or to form these compounds which can serve potentially as medicines और आगे जाके टेस्टिंग होती है, केमिस्ट का बिग फार्मा की दुनिया से किस तरह की रिलेशनशिप है? लाइक इज इट अ फ्रॉट रिलेशनशिप because there's so much siyasat it seems around people who get to make the medicine and then people who get to release it first, or people who get to have a patent and a price tag on it. What's your relationship with that world of business in the
Actually, that business is the giant, and we are just a tiny people who just serve them to make these compounds. So उस type का relationship. But I have seen in the US, if I give you an example, so there are many of the faculty, many of the researchers, many of the scientists who have started their businesses there, their pharmaceutical industries. Unfortunately, Pakistan में R&D है ही नहीं है, सिरे से नहीं है. So we have the recipes, we are generating the production, but we do not have the R&D. R&D सिर्फ कुछ industry में to some level who are making the polymers, who are making the epoxies and these kind of things, but otherwise in a pharmaceutical we do not have. So वहाँ पे ये relationship नहीं है. But in US university, every research group is highly funded by the pharmaceutical industry because they consult that researcher that you are focusing on that disease. So whenever you will get good results, whenever you get some of the potential compounds, so we are here to patent that one, to pay the fee. We are here to market that one, and we are here for the production of that one.
right.
So how that work in that world, but here we are doing for the theses, we are doing for the our own satisfaction. Somehow we just wanted to contribute in a society for the publication, for training the students and the education purpose. But I think it would be more likely क्योंकि अभी जो हमारी grant funding ये सारे issues होते हैं, so that would be handled if we have bring the R&D in ourselves, and that's very needed because हमारी drugs की cost inexpensive हो जाएगी. We will have the more affordable prices of everything, and that's not only the pharmaceutical. आप अपना textile, आप अपनी polymer, अपनी plastic industry, अपनी agriculture industry, you can
Right.
grow everything when you
Mhm.
bringing these minds कि आपने यहीं पे करना है कुछ काम. So then yeah, that's an issue.
Or what all would be required to actually even have like a small scale R&D landscape in Pakistan? कितना complicated है इसको इस ख्वाब तक पहुंचना, you think?
It's yeah, it's very complicated in that way. The very first challenge is we do not have the funding. And if somehow anybody, for example, I started, like I know how to create different compounds, या मैं आज ये सोच लेती हूँ कि okay, I will compete in a market, I will bring some cheaper with the same quality or maybe the higher quality, or some of the detergents or the lotions or the cosmetics, but they are the big you can say the lobbies who
Right.
never wanted you to enter. So
Okay.
the faculty or the researchers, the academic people, so they are not have that kind of training कि वो business लोगों को, corporate लोगों को, how they deal, how they communicate, because they only think in the profit business. एक academic की पूरी training इसमें हुई होती है that they have to deliver, they have to do the community services. उन्होंने बहुत सारे काम free में किए होते हैं. For this, they are not getting paid. So they wanted, okay, I just wanted, like, we in our group, my supervisor, me, we all have the desire that we should make or cosmetic or APIs, active pharmaceutical ingredient in our Pakistan. But the lacking is we do not have funding. We have the sanctions. We have many of the chemicals banned on in Pakistan, that उसमें से कहीं कोई ऐसी चीज ना हो जाए कि पाकिस्तान कुछ ऐसा ना कर ले के
तब बुफ ना हम बना दें कुछ.
हाँ कुछ 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 ऐसा ना हो जाए कि that we just overcome the things. So obviously, if you just look around in your neighborhood, India has a very growing very fastly in API, their own resources, indigenous versus China and everything. So the will is also not there. Obviously, when we all will be there, or will all with that vision, we all are on the same page. So hurdles overcome हो जाएंगी. But the thing is that we prefer to buy with the heavy duties, we prefer to get the profits. तो फिर वो हम अपनी चीजों को नहीं इंडिजियसली ग्रो नहीं करना चाहते.
राइट. और मतलब कंज्यूमर लेवल तक फिर वो क्या ही होता है पिछले 2 साल से जो पाकिस्तान में हो रहा है कि दवाई नहीं है, फलानी दवा
Exactly,
नहीं है. मतलब अगर आप
exactly.
स्पेशली अगर आप प्रिविलेज कम है तो आपके पास तो कोई दवा आनी नहीं है ना, बिकॉज यू
So if
नीड.
you have your own patent, आपकी अपनी ड्रग बन सकती है, so why not? तो बहुत सारी, जैसे एक एग्जांपल है थायरॉक्सिन. थायराइड इशू is very much common in Pakistan, and that was at time it was just a 30 rupees bottle, right? And now it has sold in a black, क्योंकि वो इतनी है कि वो ऐसी वो वाली मेडिसिन नहीं है जिससे एक फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्री को प्रॉफिट होगा. सो दिस इज लाइफ सेविंग मेडिसिन. सो दे आर लीस्ट इंटरेस्टेड कि आप उस चीज के ऊपर प्रोडक्शन करें, बिकॉज दे कांट गो फॉर द बियॉन्ड कि आपके पास एक कैंसर पेशेंट की जो मेडिसिन दैट्स टू एक्सपेंसिव, एक डायबिटिक. सो दिस अ होल ऑफ दैट corporate sector which is involved. So that's why many of the neglected, many of the developing country diseases are compromised. They are still prevailing क्योंकि उस पे कोई research करना नहीं चाह रहा है. So they are not the investor who are interested there. Yeah.
तो ये तो फिर जो हमारे अपने ही खित्तों के लोग हैं उन्हीं, मतलब आइडियली तो वहीं से रिसर्च फिर निकलनी होगी
Exactly.
फॉर इट टू
Because
हैपन.
this is your problem. You have to
एग्जैक्टली.
take initiative.
हाँ. हाँ.
Yeah. So
हाँ,
why
आपका
would
डायबिटीज है
somebody
तो
will be
है ना.
interested? हाँ, वो क्यों करेगा?
हाँ.
Exactly. So
वाह.
that was something which we just started in our group के हमारे पास जैसे HCV है. It is affecting million of the people, right? So from the one of my PhD student who just graduated in this year. So he started with the work that we find out that HCV जो हमारी South Asia में prevalent है. So no, nothing or medicines had not that effectivity on these one, because जितना भी काम हुआ है वो उनकी genotype पे हुआ है, which is more prevalent in USA, which is more prevalent in Europe, because they have the scientists, they have the mind, they have the facilities, and they are keep on going. वो अगर एक चीज को पकड़ते हैं, so they make up to the market level कि वो drug आएगी भी market में. So then we started on, and we are just doing our best. So we find out, we do the screening, we made some of the active ingredients and the compounds, and they have shown some of the potential. लेकिन उसके बाद फिर next challenge ये होता है that we are not have such labs which can test these compounds for their biological potential. Then we have to collaborate with internationally, and unko convince karna padta hai. And we are being the developing country, not having the research grant, we can't pay for them.
Oof.
And we have to convince on our basis of profile, okay, that is a potential project, so you should give your part into this. और कोविड की वजह से बहुत सारे लोग ग्रांट्स की वजह से कोविड पे ज्यादा एम्फसाइज हो गया, whatever the viral diseases, yeah, they have shifted their interest to the viral, whoever were working on the HCV or something. So that's a challenge to do the analysis and these kind of things. Yeah.
राइट, तो रिसर्च करने के लिए एक तो ये बात सामने आ रही है कि अगर अगर रिसोर्सेज कम हैं, मतलब पैसे ही नहीं है, तो फिर तो हम बाहर का रुख करते हैं कि आप उनसे कोलैबोरेट करते हैं, लुकिंग फॉर सम फंड, सम ग्रांट, समथिंग। और अब जैसे आपने थोड़ी देर पहले बताया था कि जब केमिकल्स नहीं होते यहाँ पे, मतलब उनकी इम्पोर्ट बैन है, तो फिर क्या होता है, यानी क्या आप एक ऐसी दुनिया में ऑपरेट करते हैं फिर कि यार हम ऐसी चीजों से डील ही नहीं करेंगे जिसमें केमिकल रिक्वायर्ड हो, या फिर उस केमिकल को यूज करने के लिए भी हमें बाहर जाना पड़ता है? लाइक हाउ डू यू वर्क अराउंड लाइक like an import ban on chemicals as a chemist?
As a chemist, then we have to find out the alternatives, right? लेकिन alternatives आप अपनी research में कर सकते हैं. You can do for the thesis purpose. You can do, हाँ, sometimes it is happening. जैसे आपके पास एक chemical है which is market available, right? And it has some of the hundreds of the dollars price. But as a chemist, we can develop that method, and we did for many of the things that we developed that protocol in our lab कि हम उसको scratch से शुरू करेंगे and we come up that reactant जो हमें चाहिए था, and then we will proceed further. So somehow it happens. But sometimes ये भी होता है कि वो protocol आपके पास वो facility ही नहीं है that you can separate out, you can purify it. So then you have to see for the alternative. And वो alternative फिर आप medicine में नहीं कर सकते. Then you have to compromise your research because आपके पास अगर body में एक चीज potentially काम कर सकती है, तो that should be in that way. So you can't change and flip it. आपके पास सिंपल एक हाइड्रोजन, सिंपल एक मैथिल ग्रुप को चेंज करके, so the whole of the chemical world has changed. उसकी properties, उसकी chemical properties, how it will work in your molecular level, so that all change. So yeah, so these are the challenges. Either we have to go for, क्योंकि chemical आपको कोई borrow नहीं करने देता. They do share their facilities. You can visit, you can do the analysis, but obviously they are paying for the chemicals. So why they would pay for your chemicals? And फिर उसको वहां से लाना is another thing.
But it's
जो
not like
हमारी
you can bring
FedEx,
it.
जो हमारी post है, हाँ, exactly. They will check, they will hold that chemicals. Okay, that we are not getting. So there are number of letters we have to write it. So sometimes अगर आपको कोई favor भी करना चाहेगा, so the thing is that our system is not facilitating that we can get that thing to at our doors.
Right.
कि हम उसको काम कर सकते.
And obviously you can't bring it in like a bottle, right?
Exactly.
You can't bring it in
For
your
example,
suitcase.
for example, I have to go for some of my compounds we synthesize for the cancer studies. We were not having the cell lines here, or एक आध university में थे, but they don't want to cooperate with you. So I will have to send the samples in France. So for the viral infections and analysis. So what the thing is कि मैंने उसको जब किया and I wanted to send them, that they said कि नहीं भाई, पाकिस्तान से तो वहाँ पे जा ही नहीं सकता sample, right? So then I went to the USA during my postdoc, and I sent it through there. So that is something. Everybody can't afford, everybody can't have the opportunity कि वो किसी और मुल्क में जाए पहले पाकिस्तान से, and then they can pull that one.
और ये आप
Yeah,
फ्रांस की
exactly.
इसलिए बात करेंगे क्योंकि उस जमाने में पाकिस्तान और फ्रांस के सिफारती ताल्लुकात थोड़े गड़बड़
Yeah,
थे।
exactly. Like the thing is, if we like on a both side, if the science people are the ambassador, so whenever you are communicating, आप culturally एक दूसरे को बहुत सारी चीजें exchange करते हैं. My France collaborator and me, there was a very good grant, the collaborative grant with the France and Pak, announced by the HEC and their agencies. But when we try to submit it, there was a hold कि नहीं, अब फ्रांस और पाकिस्तान की कोई कोलैबोरेशन नहीं हो सकती है. या अब मैंने जैसे एक मोबिलिटी ग्रांट के लिए लिखना चाहा, so they said कि in France they said no, we have the full ban that nobody can fly into the Pakistan from the France. So we can't go for the exchange. So these are the things where our government sector has to be involved, that if any of the bad thing happens, so this shouldn't black out all of these opportunities, all of these things and the collaborations. So that should be sorted out in a nice way,
और आई
mutual
थिंक
dialogues.
पाकिस्तान की जनरली मुझे लगता है कि दोस्ती इतने कम ममालिक से है कि मतलब यानी आई आई मेरा अंदाजा नहीं था कि केमिस्ट्री में काम करने वालों की भी पाकिस्तान में उनकी जिंदगियां स्पेशली पॉलिटिक्स से कितनी अफेक्टेड हो सकती है, राइट? दिस इज आवर दिस इज अ डायरेक्ट रिजल्ट ऑफ आवर इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज एंड आवर फॉरेन पॉलिसी, इफ वी वर टू जस्ट से इट
Mm.
वेरी ब्लंटली। मतलब इसमें मेरा नहीं हाल कि कोई इसमें कोई डिप्लोमेटिक
Yeah,
होने
we,
की
we
जरूरत है,
really
बट
need a very strong science diplomacy. हमें
हाँ
बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है उस चीज की कि
हाँ
हम अपनी साइंस पॉलिसीज को ऐसा बनाएं,
हाँ
बिकॉज साइंस पॉलिसी इट रियली अफेक्ट योर फॉरेन मिनिस्ट्री एंड फॉरेन रिलेशनशिप्स, कि अगर आप इस तरह की लोगों को आने दोगे, दे विल बी द पीपल हु कम हु विजिट योर, अब जैसे एक इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंसेस होती हैं,
हम्म
so people come and they realize, oh नहीं, पाकिस्तान ऐसा नहीं है. So I
हम्म
have invited many of my international friends and they said, oh my God, so the Pakistan is a very nice place. यहाँ पे बहुत सारे बहुत welcoming लोग हैं and you have very good place and they do the shopping और आप अपना कितना revenue generate कर सकते हैं, but we don't think about these things.
हम्म
I don't know
हम्म
why.
हाँ हाँ हाँ, आई मीन
Yeah,
या
and I think मेरे ख्याल में chemists जो होते हैं वो ज्यादा affect होते हैं because we have a very expensive sciences और हमें केमिकल्स के बगैर हम काम नहीं कर सकते एंड केमिकल हैज टू इम्पोर्ट. पहले ये होता था कि हमारे पास डायरेक्ट वेंडर आते थे एंड इवन पाकिस्तान वी गेट द शिपिंग. नाउ दे जस्ट हैव क्लोज दैट वन, जो लास्ट से लास्ट गवर्नमेंट थी. तो दे वर बिग नेम्स जो हमारे फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर थे, दे हैव पुट सो मच एक्स्ट्रा टैक्सेस कि वो फिर सिर्फ दुबई में शिफ्ट हो गया. सो नाउ वी हैव टू वट एवर गेटिंग वी आर गेटिंग थ्रू द दुबई. सो दिस इज टेकिंग टाइम.
मुझे फिर ये बताएं कि जब पीएचडी हो गया तो उसके बाद क्या आप फॉरेन ही पोस्ट डॉक में गई या आपने पहले कुछ अर्सा टीचिंग की? वो नेक्स्ट स्टेप किस तरह से फॉर्मुलेट हुआ?
So I actually graduated. I did my PhD in December 2014 was the notification, but I awarded my degree in around April 2015. And then I got the government GC Women University Sialkot, जहाँ मेरी पहली induction हुई थी, and that
ओके,
was the very first batch they were hiring for the university faculty. It was a college, women college, which was upgraded as a university. So I did work as a one year, I think 1.5 year there, because I was in a Salcode. I have to move every week to the Salcode, and I was in a hostel. Though I was working as a chief warden in a hostel, there was a position, there was a government university, but I was thinking that this is not something which I wanted to do because
हम्म
I wanted to continuously doing something. Though I went there with very passion,
हाँ,
लेकिन वो जो एक रिसर्चर वाला भी एक था, because I wanted to enjoy and wanted to create. I don't can't stick only just to teaching.
टीचिंग, आई सी।
So yeah, so then there was a position announced in FCCU, so I applied
हम्म,
and I got 2 3 step interviews. I did the lectures to the student, they get the feedback and whole of the hiring process, and then I joined in 2017 FCCU.
आई सी।
So then I realized that there is something I have to apply for some of the postdoc where I get in a more advanced place where I can do the analysis, where I can learn more techniques, because this is just what I'm doing, whatever I have. ये मेरे पास वो था जो मेरे अपने किचन में जो कुछ है मुझे उसमें डील करना है. I just have to play. So
सही
I
है।
can't go beyond that. I can't go innovative to that
हाँ
way. So
हाँ,
that's why I keep on applying. I apply for HEC, I apply for the TWAS, I apply for the DART. Then I apply, and it was very first time I applied for the US Fulbright, and I got selected, and I'm really
भाई वाह।
blessed for this. I selected the Minnesota because this was a big day, so I got there, and I was the first US Fulbright in the School of Pharmacy, and that was
हाँ,
something amazing.
अमेजिंग,
Yeah.
भाई वाह।
So many of the places I was the first who was very first time, because when I was in the University of Washington, Seattle during the IRSEP, I was the first Pakistani who went there as a visiting scholar in IRSEP.
ब्यूटीफुल। हाँ,
Then when I attended the Mauritius, I applied for the ATC travel grant. I was awarded the travel grant, and I was the first Pakistani PhD scholar who presented their research work, and the
Amazing.
350 different scientists from the other of the world. So there was amazing thing,
So
rewarding.
it's
So I
amazing.
think the chemistry has rewarded me a lot in many
That is
ways,
beautiful.
but it's a struggle.
You
It's a
know,
struggle.
I'm sure it is, but also it's so like I like we are so grateful to you कि एक अच्छा पाकिस्तान का एम्बेसडर जा रहा है इन सब यूनिवर्सिटीज में, पहली पहली बार अगर आप मिनेसोटा जा रही हैं या सियाटल
हम्म
जा रही हैं,
हम्म
तो
हम्म
हमने अगर डॉक्टर हिरा को भेजा है तो हमने आगे के लोगों के लिए बहुत सारी राहें खोली है, बिकॉज यू मस्ट हैव सेट लाइक अ ग्रेट एग्जांपल, आई एम श्योर, सो दैट्स हम सबका फायदा हो
थैंक यू
गया
सो
है
मच।
आपके जाने से, बाकी सब भी रिवॉर्ड हो गए हैं। मुझे ये
एग्जैक्टली।
बताएं डॉक्टर हिरा कि अभी आप अपने हमने आपकी बहुत सी सक्सेसेस सुनी, और हमने मतलब आपकी इस तरह की मजेदार एक्शंस भी सुने कि भाई आपने एट सम पॉइंट यू गॉट अ गवर्नमेंट जॉब, यू लेफ्ट इट, you went for a contractual
हम्म
job because you felt like you would be performing better at a place where you were challenged and you
हम्म
were asked to perform.
हम्म
You
हम्म
went to आप जब अपना PhD कर रही थी तो उसी के दौरान आप 6 महीने के लिए सियाटल गई, दिस वाज द HEC स्कॉलरशिप, फिर आप ये फुल ब्राइट के प्रोग्राम पे गई अपने पोस्ट डॉक में, और आप कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में, आई एम श्योर यू देयर आर आल्सो सो मेनी सक्सेसेस दैट यू डिडंट मेंशन बिकॉज आप क्या क्या बताएंगी,
हम्म
राइट? बट आई वांट टू नो
हम्म
आल्सो कि हमें तो नजर आती हैं सक्सेसेस, हम तो जब पॉडकास्ट पे सुन देंगे आपको तो हमें होगा कि अच्छा ये बंदी तो फिट बंदी है और इसको सब कुछ मतलब सही है, मेहनत की होगी लेकिन इसको सब कुछ मिला है। तो आप थोड़ा सा जरा हमें शेयर करें हमारे साथ कि आ, इन सब सक्सेसेस के साथ साथ वो किस किस तरह की रिजेक्शंस हैं जो हमें नजर नहीं आ रही, कितनी रिजेक्शन के बाद एक एक्सेप्टेंस होती है, कितने नो के बाद एक ग्रांट को यस मिलता है, और और जब ये ऐसा होता है तो सेकंड पार्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन ये है कि आप उन रिजेक्शन से कैसे डील करती हैं।
Yeah, so obviously everybody, if even if you are on a very basic level of your career, you are beginner, you are pro, so you are experiencing rejection and you just have to stick to your feet और आपने खड़े रहना होता है, because there will be the time, वो कहते हैं ना कि अपना टाइम आएगा, तो वो आता है टाइम, but you have to be there. So the thing is, as a chemist or as an academic researcher, we face maybe the much rejections as compared to the other people, क्योंकि I face the rejections every time we submit our research publication. हमने बहुत काम करके experiments बनाए, सब कुछ किया, and you are looking for your journal and you submit, okay, and they said no, that is not good. I remember मेरे PhD में एक paper था, and we submit in one of the journal, and that was for the whole year we waited for that paper. There were 6 reviewers जिन्होंने इसको review किया, and I think that was just a biased decision, because after every reviewer has a positive comment, just editor rejected it.
Wow.
So though my supervisor did send a very hard email that if that paper will be from this country, so you must have accepted it. क्योंकि country wise भी होता है, we have the regional biases कि हमें एक psychologically भी है कि पाकिस्तान में ये काम हो ही नहीं सकता, because we don't market it. अब मैं इसीलिए साइंस डिप्लोमेसी की बात करी थी, when your people are going exchanging in the other countries, other people are coming to your labs, your institute, they will realize कि यहाँ पे genuine people हैं, they are the great minds, they wanted to work. Other thing, I experienced a lot of enduring, क्योंकि दो कि मैंने अपनी academic में कोई gap नहीं लिया था, and I was decided कि मैं जब once I'll do the PhD, I will start my professional career. Meanwhile, हाँ जहाँ अगर कोई opportunity मिलेगी तो I will do that one. बट जब आपको जैसे आप कर रहे होते हो, एंड इवन जो शख्स टोटली एक्टिव और डायनामिक होता है, तो उसके लिए वो 2 महीने का पैच या 1 महीने का पैच भी घर में बैठना जो होता है वो बड़ा मुश्किल सा होता है. सो आई रिमेम्बर व्हेन आई जस्ट डिड कंप्लीट माय MS, तो मुझे बहुत शौक था इंडस्ट्रियल जॉब करने का, बिकॉज आई यूज्ड टू टेल यू कि मैं वो डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज देखती थी, एंड दैट वो डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज फ्रॉम द यूरोप एंड द US साइड्स, राइट. उनके चैनल CNN BBC पे होती थी. तो आई रियलाइज कि मेरे माइंड में फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्री अपनी पाकिस्तान का वही वाला था, बिकॉज आई नेवर विजिटेड दैट प्लेस. हाँ, कर्शी और नेस्ले मैंने विजिट किया था ड्यूरिंग दैट, तो आई हैड कि इट्स दीज आर द गुड कंपनीज. सो आई ऑलवेज वांटेड अ इंडस्ट्रियल जॉब. माय फादर सेड कि नहीं, यहाँ की इंडस्ट्रियल जॉब तुम नहीं कर सकोगी, बट आई इंसिस्ट हिम कि नहीं, मुझे जाना है एक इंटरव्यू के लिए. अब बड़ी मुश्किल से मैंने कह के उनसे प्लान कराया. So they said कि नहीं भाई, when I visited, it was too far. Firstly, I will take the 2 hours to drive. उसके बाद they were not giving any pick and drop and they said कि नहीं भी हमें तो चाहिए we just need the MSc person क्योंकि MS वाले लोग जो है वो छोड़ जाएंगे and they were paying too less to me
Really?
and I was said कि भाई मुझे बस रख रहे हैं मुझे एक experience चाहिए but they didn't allow me to do that one तो पापा ने कहा ठीक है अब शौक पूरा हो गया ठीक है नाउ जस्ट मूव ऑन अब अपना PhD का करो और उसको
हाँ,
परस्यू करो देन ओके फिर वो थोड़ा सा वो हो गया आई रिमेम्बर एन इंसिडेंट when I was going even for the IPFP, even for the placement, and I was at one of the university. I don't want you to name that one. And his VC told me, मैं जब interview देने गई हूँ, he didn't look on my CV. He was not interested. Because unfortunately बहुत सारी ऐसी universities हैं जहाँ पे आप merit नहीं होती. Like you just have to come up with another way so they will entertain you. So he didn't look on my application, he didn't look on my CV. बहुत फोर्स करके मैंने एक इंटरव्यू जरूर प्लान करवा लिया था बट on an interview he said why don't you teach in a school like sir
wow.
what are you saying I mean I did my PhD and I have a research aptitude and I wanted to be a scientist कि मैं इसमें में communicate and you are telling me that to teaching a student in a school मतलब it's not a bad thing मैंने
Exactly.
schools के बच्चों को
हाँ,
पढ़ाया है I teach
हाँ.
them and even अब भी मेरे ग्रुप में जो है we do the outreach
Right,
activities but
right.
it's not something कि मैं मुझे इस लेवल पे जो उनको एक टिपिकल चीज सिखानी है ट्रेनिंग आई एम नॉट ऑफ दैट पर्सन मैंने उसके लिए ये परस्यू नहीं किया एंड दैट वाज वेरी डीमोटिवेटिंग मुझे लगा कि मेरे पाकिस्तान में कभी जॉब नहीं मिल सकती है तो
Wow. So,
एग्जैक्टली
when you're applying for all of these things, then you're doing your research, you're also teaching. Uh, in your life, like, what all do you think gets sacrificed because you have to work so much and you have to work kind of all the time? Like, what all do you think sometimes does get affected?
ऑब्वियसली दिस दैट लाइक आपको फिर वो जो कहते हैं ना कि when you have to gain something when you have to excel in your life you have to make many of the compromises like मुझे याद है कि मैंने अपनी शादी के दिन राइट so it was my मेहंदी डे
Huh.
right and I submit my PhD thesis and everybody was saying कि oh my god इस टाइम पे तो लोगों ने पीले जोड़े पहने होते हैं तुम क्या कर रही हो I said भाई I have spent whole of 4 years there तो मुझे इसको सबमिट करना है आई कांट कॉम्प्रोमाइज कि मैं अपनी छुट्टी लेके चली जाऊं
Right.
एंड माय सुपरवाइजर इज जस्ट रनिंग आफ्टर मी कि भाई
जी.
ये बच्ची कहाँ गई है राइट
हाँ, आप अपना
सो
काम कर
एंड
लें.
आई ऑल्सो वांटेड कि मैं हाँ जितनी जल्दी नोटिफिकेशन होगा आई विल स्टार्ट इन माय प्रोफेशनल लाइफ सो दैट वाज समथिंग तो आई मुझे इसलिए हैरानी होती है मतलब मेरे पास बच्चे आते हैं लीव लेके एंड उनके भाई की शादी एंड दे नीड अ 2 weeks वेकेशन एंड आई सेड यार इतनी तो मैंने अपनी शादी पे भी नहीं की थी मतलब दैट इज समथिंग दैट यूजुअली माय आंसर इज सो कि आपके पास बहुत सारी ऐसी दफा चीजें होती हैं दैट यू हैव टू मेक द डिसीजंस which are out of the comfort zone. Like, for example, I remember that I got the miscarriage when I was doing the job in a Salcott, and I have to give the task. And on the very next 2 days, because I was not able to take the leaves, and my boss was a little bit was that kind of that they were just calling she was just calling me so yeah I have to go there so I was alone there I was in another city and I was facing all of this trauma that
Yeah.
I got that all of the thing it's happened suddenly when I was teaching I was taking a
Okay.
class and this all of the things will happen and I traveled from the Sialkot all alone
Oh,
to the Lahore
oh my
so
God.
to get कि मैं किसी clinic में जाके check करा लूं because that was something so these are the things like
Yeah.
हम शायद लग रहे होंगे कि that everything is on the bed of roses and everything
Exactly.
so
हाँ.
you have to do
And
these
when
things
you're in the habit of fighting for things, a lot of people assume कि आपको तो सब कुछ आसानी से मिला है कि अगर आपने इस
Hmm.
कॉन्वर्सेशन के शुरू में कहीं गलती से कह दिया कि आपके पेरेंट्स कोऑपरेटिव हैं तो लोग इस बात को
Hmm.
समझेंगे कि बस आपने मतलब आपने कोई कुर्बानी नहीं दी होगी क्योंकि
Hmm.
आपको तो बस
Hmm.
मिल गए ना कोऑपरेटिव पेरेंट्स बट choice of the choice of submitting your PhD thesis on the Mehndi day is yours. I want to ask you, Dr. Hira, you're doing all of these amazing things. You are also
Hmm.
currently, again, like continuing to work on ovarian cancer research. And I'm sure like there are other research interests that you have and they will develop over time. आपको क्या चीज पाकिस्तान में रुकने पे मजबूर करती है एंड आई डोंट यूज द वर्ड मजबूर इन अ बैड वे राइट नाउ बट आपको क्या चीज पाकिस्तान में रुके हुए है especially, I mean, we're recording this podcast in November 2023. पिछले 2 सालों में जितने लोग पाकिस्तान छोड़ के जा रहे हैं, वो लोग छोड़ के जा रहे हैं जिनको
Hmm.
मुझे लगता था कि ये शायद नहीं जाएंगे, लेकिन सब जा रहे हैं.
Hmm.
तो how are you navigating this entire space, and what keeps you in Pakistan?
So what keeps me here going, because this is something that I think being a Pakistan, being a woman in a Pakistan, it was my struggle, it was my initiative, it was my hard work, it was a lot of people who really support me, who agree with me. But I think Pakistan has given me so much thing. जो मैंने बहुत सारी चीजें I achieve, and I achieve on the basis of as a representative of Pakistan, as a women scientist from the
Right.
Pakistan, or as a student of the Pakistan. तो मुझे ये लगता है कि अगर ये सब लोग चले जाएंगे, so what is our next generation? Like, who get that exposure? And if you are not translating here, so what will happen in the future? फिर तो ना हम रहेंगे, ना पाकिस्तान, ना जनरेशन, खुदा ना खास्ता. So we have to bring these things. So that keep me that अच्छा, कुछ कुछ तो डिलीवर करके जाए ना इंसान, एटलीस्ट अपनी अपनी होम कंट्री का कुछ हक तो बनता है, राइट? यू हैव टू. So I and another thing which keep me motivated कि बहुत सारे ऐसे बच्चे which are coming from the humble backgrounds. I teach in Sialkot. I teach in. I had the opportunity to work in Sargodha University. I live here in Lahore. So आपके पास हर यूनिवर्सिटी में डिफरेंट डिफरेंट बैकग्राउंड्स के लोग आते हैं, एंड इवन द पीपल आर देयर. वहाँ पे वो एरियाज भी होते हैं जहाँ पर आपके पास इंटरनेट नहीं है. देयर वो वहाँ पे कुछ ऐसे एरियाज भी हैं जहाँ पे बच्चों को ये भी नहीं पता होता कि हाउ टू कम्युनिकेट विद योर टीचर और समथिंग लाइक दिस. सो when I train them, when they work with me, and when they grow, और फिर जब मैं उनको देखती हूँ they are on the place. So this is I think the most rewarding thing कि फिर
Right.
आपको लगता है कि यार this is something कि जो आप साथ लेके जा सकते हो,
हाँ.
something you have contributed जो
Right.
afterward भी आप याद रखी जा सकती है
Right.
यार.
कुछ किया है आपने, एक्चुअल अच्छा वाला
हाँ,
काम.
कुछ किया है, कुछ
Amazing,
किया है,
amazing,
exactly.
amazing. If
हम्म.
someone who's listening to you right now and they're in, let's say, ninth grade, 10th grade, या 11th 12th, ये उनका FSC इंटरमीडिएट ओ ए लेवल्स
हम्म.
वाली लेवल के बच्चे हैं कि जिनको अपने कुछ बोर्ड के एग्जाम्स भी देने हैं, सब कुछ करना है. और I sometimes feel like, I mean, this is just a very personal observation कि 6th 7th 8th में भी अगर आपको केमिस्ट्री पढ़ानी शुरू होती है, you don't quite start hating chemistry immediately, but something happens in the board exam years where we all get a little bit, like, I mean, I don't want to say we all, but a lot of us get a little bit almost traumatized by chemistry कि हमें होता है कि इसको छोड़ के भागो, कोई ऐसा सब्जेक्ट कर लो जिसमें इससे ताल्लुक ना बन पाए. तो अगर कोई
हम्म.
9th grader, 12th grader, 10th grader इस वक्त आपको सुन रही है या सुन रहा है, और ऑल दे हैव इज अ मीडियोकर केमिस्ट्री टीचर, तो हम उनके टीचर से उम्मीद नहीं लगा सकते इस वक्त उनको अच्छे टीचर मिल जाए. उनके पास एक मीडियोकर टीचर है, और उनके पास बेसिक केमिस्ट्री की अपनी टेक्स्ट बुक्स हैं. और हमें पता है कि हमारी टेक्स्ट बुक्स तो बहुत अमेजिंग नहीं है, थोड़ी अनोइंग ही है, मतलब
हम्म.
बोर करके छोड़ती हैं. तो
हम्म.
इस उम्र के लोग क्या कर सकते हैं कि उनको केमिस्ट्री से ना सिर्फ डर ना लगे, बल्कि उनका इंटरेस्ट, वो चाहते हैं कि उनका इंटरेस्ट हो, बट इंटरेस्ट डेवलप नहीं हो पा रहा बिकॉज ऑफ द नॉट सो अमेजिंग टीचर एंड द नॉट सो अमेजिंग टेक्स्ट बुक. What are the
हम्म.
places that they can go to, whether in person or online? What can they read? What can they do to just be like interested, even decently interested in this fascinating subject of chemistry?
Yeah, there are plenty of things. Like for example, अगर मैं लाहौर पंजाब की बात करूँ, so I would mention, and there is Al Khwarizmi Society,
Okay.
and Dr. Sabi is one of the physics professor and dean in the Sayyid Babar School of Sciences and Engineering in LAMS.
Hmm.
So they used to organize a science fair, right? लाहौर साइंस फेयर, जहाँ पे बहुत सारे स्कूल्स को बुलाया जाता है फ्रॉम होल ऑफ द डिस्ट्रिक्ट, and the students are basically demonstrating the different live experiments, and this was so fun to watch them. उनके पेरेंट्स भी इनवाइटेड होते हैं, they are relating, they are explaining, और फिर वो पूरी जो एक्सरसाइज होती है जहाँ पे उन्होंने कोई एक कॉन्सेप्ट को लेकर they have delivered it. So that is amazing, and they are also able to hundreds of other stalls to visit, जहाँ पे forensic भी होती है, जहाँ पे क्राइम सीन्स टाइप के होते हैं, मतलब एंड दे डू इट इन उर्दू, लाइक साइंस के करिश्मे, फल्कियाती और इस टाइप की चीजें, सो दे शो दैट वे. So I think there should be more science clubs should come into in our society to do that one. स्कूल्स को बहुत सारी, खैर अभी तो आप पूछ रही हैं कि इन ऑन अ पर्सनल इंडिविजुअल लेवल व्हाट अ पर्सन शुड डू.
A young
So there
person.
is the American Chemical Society. There is a Royal Society of Chemistry. So they do have on their website that they have the K2, K6 grade and other state students. So they have the different labs, recorded labs. So you can watch those videos, and that will really do the different, create the curiosity and the fun with you. There are a number of people. There are the apps available. I in my phone, and I also demonstrate to my students as well. There's a Royal Society periodic table apps. So you can just go for the different science games. There are some of the very good YouTubers who are doing the daily science-based experiments, and they are explaining that chemistry concept as well. So the YouTube is Zindabad. YouTube पे बहुत stuff है. If you wanted to find that one.
मतलब अगर इंटरनेट हो तो फिर थोड़ी सी जिम्मेदारी यंग पीपल की भी है कि वो जरा सही चीजें सर्च करें,
हाँ, they
राइट?
should search for it.
हाँ,
There are some of the people I know. There's Fusion, I think Fun Fusion or something. I just not remember the exact name. The Gul is working amazing job. She is in Karachi.
Are you
You
talking
might
about
know her.
Science Fuse? Is that what you're talking about?
Science Fuse,
Yeah, La
yeah,
La
yeah,
Love, La
Science
La
Fuse
Love.
or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
La
Lala
look,
is
yeah,
my
exactly.
friend.
I was saying the goal, yeah. Okay,
हाँ,
so she
yeah,
is amazing.
yeah.
She came to Lahore when we were conducting the Lahore Science Fair, and
Right.
she demonstrated very nicely. There is another person I just don't remember. He's also, I think, from the Karachi. मुझे अब नाम देखना पड़ेगा, but he has even invited in the Germany for the Berlin Wall of something activities.
Okay.
So he also demonstrated different students जो घर में होते हैं, and he engineered. वो physically, mechanically, he has some of the place there, and the students go there, and they have the summer kind of internships or the
I
summer
see.
camping. So
I
he
see.
demonstrated
Is
the
this
school, very little students. Yeah.
ये अब्दुल रऊफ की बात तो नहीं कर रही आप?
Abdur Rauf, exactly. You
Yeah,
are
yeah,
good
yeah.
in memory. मेरे पास इतने
No,
सारे
I
वो है,
many
because
many
I have
years
very
ago,
good conversation with
yeah,
both all of these.
yeah.
Yeah, Abdur Rauf. Yeah.
We made
So
a really small film on Abdul Rauf ages ago, बहुत सालों पहले, but we went and he was
हाँ.
doing these amazing
But
experiments and
but again, these people are wanted, and they really didn't pursue that fancy career, but they
exactly,
choose that thing कि आप outreach कर रहे हो, आप STEM education दे रहे हो बच्चों को. But again, the funding is not there, but
exactly,
that can propagate. तो वो
exactly,
चीजें हो सकती हैं.
exactly.
Like for example, अब हमने ये शुरू किया था, and my group has an initiative, and in my university and even other university, I didn't see them as example. So I really wanted कि हम we are trying to add in our policies as well that there should be the outreach activity. और ये मैंने US में भी देखा है that the students do arrange some of these events, that they visit the schools, they go the live demonstrations. We did in the open house of the Beacon House school system, and we are nice. We are happy that they allow us.
Right.
And it was a so overwhelmed stall that my students show them the elephant toothpaste, the volcano, or these kind of experiments. So the students really inspired to get the sciences and the chemistry. अब जैसे मेरा भांजा है, तो he said that he wanted to be a scientist. So he come up with the chemistry questions to me. So there are many of the
Amazing.
things. You just have to select that these are the options the
Right.
students can go
Right.
through, and they can improve their skills and
Right.
learn the sciences.
And it is so amazing, right? I mean, I see this all the time in Pakistan. Also, you see so many 5-year-old, 6-year-old kids, boys, girls, who will say, I want to grow up to be a scientist. I want to grow up to be an astronaut. I want to learn about space. And then something happens in the next 6-7 years कि वो सब कहीं बर्बाद हो जाता है और वो बेचारे बच्चे मतलब बस वही चीजें करने लगते हैं जो लाखों लोग और कर रहे हैं पाकिस्तान में. ऑन दैट नोट आई वांट टू, आई मीन, आई होप एंड आई प्रे कि आप इसी तरह अच्छा अच्छा करती रहे दूसरों के लिए भी,
Thank
और
you.
आपकी अपनी रिसर्च भी होपफुली फ्लरिश करे, और जितनी अभी फ्लरिश कर रही है उससे 100 गुना और ज्यादा फ्लरिश करे. एंड
Amen. So Amen. Keep on
thank
praying.
you so
Thank
much
you.
for all of your time, Dr. Hira. Thank you so much. It was so fun talking to you, honestly. You're a you break the stereotype of a scientist that the world has created for us. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
It was pleasure being there.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Khulafis. Khulafis. Thank you.
Love is.